Hello and welcome back. Today I've picked 10 albums that I bought in 2024 and that I think that are very good value for money and very good value for sound. And that's why I consider them my best purchases of the year. I wanted to share them with you in case you might consider uh, buying one of them. So let's get into it. Before we start, belated Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, of course. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and become part of our family. Right, the first one is a pair. Is the Analog Productions releases of two Genesis albums, the ones I like best. Nursery Crime 45 RPM, 180 gram, incredible sound, different from the original, but really worth for your collection. And at the beginning of the year, I bought Selling Them by the Pound, remastered by Bernie Grundman. Fantastic sound, also a double 45 RPM. And if you haven't got any of these two, well, consider spending some money before the year is over. The next one was inexpensive. It's Heartbreaker from Free. It was recommended to me by one of my subscribers. Thank you very much. This is a Dutch pressing. It's very inexpensive, but the music here is phenomenal. The moment I start hearing it, it tick, and I think it's my favorite Free album, and it deserves to be in anyone's collection. And this was done in Haarlem, Holland. It's Dutch pressing with a fantastic sound. Uh, Next one, the Pink Floyd. Uh, I've got a friend who's a really Floydian, right? Who's a really Floyd addict, right? And he's been after the best sounding pressing of these albums. Value his opinion. I regard it very highly, and he recommended to me this A4B3, which is the second Harry Moss pressing from the album. And I must agree with him that this is the best this album has ever sounded to me and to him. Right? It's on the Harvest label, uh, yellow and green. And as I said, A4B3. Some have the HTM machine stamped on the record, others don't. And Discogs does not shed any light on this. But just follow the stampers and you'll be fine. The also the A6B5 sounds as good as this one. It won't be as expensive as a 1U, and I think you get a better sound. Right. Next up is Lynyrd Skynyrd, Second Helping. I have several copies of these albums, but this year I bought these Holland pressings. I'm getting uh, very fond of these Dutch pressings, right? They fly under the radar, and nobody seems to buy them, and they sound really, really wonderful, right? This is from the late 70s. It's on MCA Records. That's the MCA Records label, right? Um, it's a -1Y, right? And as I said, I think it's very inexpensive and it is excellent, excellent sounding. Plus the music, of course, is superb. Now, the next one came to me as a surprise. This year, everybody's been talking about the analog production releases of Steely Dan. I bought some of them. But I didn't buy Gaucho, and I made a video on that as to why. And halfway through this process, another very kind subscriber recommended to me these Japanese pressings. I wasn't very keen on the idea at first because I've got many copies of Gaucho and I didn't want to really spend more money on that, but he insisted on it. And I'm glad I followed his advice. This is the pressing, right? Look for this OB. Now, why do I like this copy is because the Bob Ludwig one is excellent, but it should be a little bit, should have been a little bit tame at the highs, right? The highs can become a bit disturbing to me, whereas this one is more friendly, so to speak. To me, it has a better bass, and it is more captivating. It is more compelling, and it keeps it retains the same sound stage, it retains the same definition, and I've played it over and over again since I purchased it. Right, it might not be as cheap as it should be. You might have to fork out somewhere in the region of 40 or 50, but as I said, well worth the money. Another Analog Productions record that I bought this year is the Yes album. Again, 45 RPM, double LP. I think this is the best one of the lot. This one improves on the original, which can become very strident, and the highs can be annoying. This is so smooth, so very well mastered by Kevin Gray. It is a joy to listen to this album, right? So if you didn't purchase a copy through the year, do that right now that we are at Christmas, and your ears will thank you. Superb music as well, of course. Now, this one came out in 2019, I think, but I bought it this year because I'm not very fond of digitally sourced vinyl. If you follow my channel, you know I try to keep my purchases fully analog. But again, sometimes I value the opinion of my subscribers or the opinion of people I know that have very good and very well-trained ears. And they tipped me into this Genesis Second Out, released by Abbey Road Studios. And I'm really glad I bought this album. Remember, if you're in the US, there's no Obi. Well, I don't know why. The European edition does have one, and the UK as well. It's half-speed mastering. But the original to me is the Charisma original to me is so muffled and so distant that much as I love the music, I can never really get the feel of being in a live concert, right? It's too, I don't know, it's too cluttered somehow. This one has a great sound stage, has a phenomenal sound. Uh, it has a great presence. The instrument separation is fantastic, and I think I played it 2 or 3 times, or even 4 since I bought it. And I might even consider buying a spare copy, a spare playing copy. To me, it's that good. Now, Jethro Tull, Stormwatch, an album that is not very popular. It was the final record they released in the 70s. Uh, Unfortunately, John Glasgow, the bass guitar, died just before the recording, and it's very cheap and it's all over the place. Right? I think it's much better than people. I think the folk trilogy, Heavy Horses, Songs from the Wood and Stone Porch are much better than people have them for, right? Because they're great songs, they're great tunes here, fantastic music, and most importantly, they're much better recorded than their early production. This is for my US fans, because this is a Santa Maria pressing from Los Angeles, California. And it's a different mastering from the UK one or from the European one, but it sounds much, much better to my ears than the other two. It's absolutely inexpensive. And, you know, if you want to enjoy this later 70 effort by the band, this is the right way to begin. I know a lot of you have this copy, but it took me some time and some money to purchase this one. I did it this year. Uh, I'm talking about Pink Floyd, The Wall. I have an original UK and an original German pressing that, together with the US promo, are reputed to be the best. But as you know, some people recommend the Japanese AP pressing, right? This one, unfortunately, hasn't got the OB, but that made it much cheaper, right? Much more affordable. And as I said, I was reluctant at first. I bought this copy in near mint condition. I played it and I've enjoyed it so much. I'm not a fan of Japanese pressings. If you follow my channel, you know I'm not very keen on them because of the highs. But although some people think that this is very clinical, to me, it's spot on. It may not be as bass heavy as the UK or the US, right? Or not as dynamic, but the detail is incredible, right? It's a great experience, right? If you can find a copy for not much money, give it a chance, right? And see what you think. Now, last one. We all try to buy purchases in near mint condition or in the best possible condition, but sometimes the original first present becomes so expensive that you give up on finding a good copy. And an album I really like, which is The Who's Tell Me, has two different versions for Eyesight to the Blind, also known as the Hocker. I've got a near mint copy of the A2B2 that has one of the alternative mix, right, which is an octave lower, if memory serves. But I've always wanted to listen to the A1. Prices for the A1 are through the roof. But as a German seller I buy from on Discogs offered me this one. The jacket is in terrible condition. It's a good blast at best. But anyway, I don't really mind because I've got about 6 or 7 Tommies, so I know what the jacket is like. The good thing about these is that the records were in near mint condition. And he asked me for, what was the price? 25 plus shipping. So, you know, it was a no-brainer. And I asked him again, I mean, are the records really near mint? He said, yes, they're near mint. I haven't sold the album because people just refused to acquire this jacket. And as I said, I don't mind the jacket. I'm not going to play the jacket on the turntable. So, I got the records. And yes, they're in near mint condition. I would even say mint, right? There are hardly any ticks or any very light pops, and if any, they're always between songs, right? And never interfering. So if you want to have both versions of Eyesight to the Blind, I would advise you to get an A1, B1, and an A2, B2. Right, and that's all for today. It was a quick one. We're busy these days, you know, with the Christmas presents and the incoming year. So thank you very much for your following all throughout the year. We're doing a great job, and I'm really proud of what we're doing. have a good time with your loved ones and